Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to another 3D Hangouts. My name is Noah Ruiz. I'm a designer here at Adafruit. Joining me every week is my brother Pedro.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Pedro. As creative tech here at Adafruit, and every week we're here to share 3D printed projects featuring electronics from Adafruit.
That's right. This is the show where we combine 3D printing and DIY electronics to make inspirational projects. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is episode 475. It's Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. We're hanging out in the Adafruit Discord server. We have a link for folks that are new. If you want to be a part of the Adafruit community, you can hang out in the live broadcast chat channel in the Adafruit forum or Adafruit server. The URL for that is discord.gg/Adafruit. And that'll get you in the Adafruit Discord. We are hanging out there, but we're also streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, and X. So we're live in all those places. Hello, Nikita on YouTube. And in Discord, we have squid.jpg. Hello, good morning. And everyone else who's tuning in, welcome to the show. We have a new project this week. We have prototype that's pretty much finalized. We got everybody's favorite segment, Rapid Render. It's new and fresh, and we're going to take a look at what Pedro whipped up this week for Rapid Render. And we have a Timelapse Tuesday and a couple of community makes this week. So we'll check all that out. But before we do, let's jump into today's coupon code, Moon Phase. That's right. If you want to pick up anything in the Adafruit shop, be sure to use our coupon code MoonPhase at checkout to get 10% off your order. And if your order is $99 or more, you'll get a free PCB coaster with a golden Adafruit logo. If your order is $149 or more, you'll get the PCB coaster plus and Adafruit KB2040. It's a lovely dev board that can do all the things. And at the top tier at $199 or more, you get the KB2040, the PCB coaster, and free UPS ground shipping for continental US only. These get automatically added to your cart at checkout. And adafruit.com/free if you want to read more details about it. But yeah, coupon code MoonPhase. All one word, all lowercase. MoonPhase is today's coupon code. Okay. I think we're ready to look at moons.
Get all these links in there. All right.
Yeah.
This week's project is the Moon Phase clock. It's an IoT connected moon display with NeoPixels. It goes on the, what's the name of the API that Liz is using to grab the moon phase.
It's an open source API. It's used for farmers. It can, well, a part of the APIs, it does a moon phase, which is cool. I just plugged mine in. Hopefully it turns on.
So it goes through all the cycles of the moon through each month or every month. And it is using these really cool diffused NeoPixels. It's that high density, is 180 a meter NeoPixel strip.
Yeah, I haven't used these strips before, so it's cool to use them. And I like that we don't have to like rip it apart or anything. We just have to cut it, which is easy to do.
Yeah, it has the JST SM connector that we can attach on the other side to the QTPy board, so it easily plugs in. And that makes it a lot easier for not having to disassemble the silicone sheathing or the sticky backing that is on there. The only thing I don't like about this strip is the smell of the adhesives that they use. It is, oh man, make sure you open the window. But yeah, you can jump over to the other camera to show you the way that the adhesive is on here.
Just pulling up the FarmSense websites for later, because I actually haven't looked.
Yeah, so here's the strip that we're using, super diffused, really cool for inserting into your LED projects. And then you have the adhesive already on the back here, so you can just peel that off and adhere it if you don't want to make a mount. in this case, we're using this channel to attach it to the printing case. And then this cover helps to sort of hide the strip when you're looking on it straight on, so you don't see any of the hot spots. On this camera, you can't see really much any of the hot spots. So it gives it a nice little cool diffused look. And if I restart this, you can see all of the phases. So Liz added a cool demo when it starts up, so you can see what all those would look like. And very handy for that blood moon that just came through. What was it, last week? So you can see here does, oh no, I don't remember the names, waxing, gibbous, waning.
Yeah, it's all listed in the Learn Guide, so
yeah,
it's all good.
But it goes through all those. So all three printed, should fit on most beds. And then we even have a little backing here for attaching to a wall with a screw, or you can design something that would go on the back, just fit it into the little circle here to make like a stand. Let's see, QTPy ESP32 S2. So super easy to mount with the little mounts that we have, and then USB power. Since this works as a really cool night light, so you always want to have that plugged in, but you could make it battery powered. I'm just running it off a USB battery bank right now, so that works really good as well. And then for displaying on the show right now, it's just one of these like phone stands. It works good for that. And let's see, what else can I talk about? Super easy to print. Takes about like 4 hours, I think, for all the parts. If you use like the draft mode, that's what this one is printed. So it prints like in maybe 3 hours. You do a fast print. And very cool detail with the lithograph of the moon. This is a remix. We have all the credits in the guide, which we'll go over. It's been through a couple different iterations. I think this was originally like half the size of this, so it was like tiny little LED moon print, but it didn't have like the IoT stuff. And they were using those the nude LEDs that they have in the bamboo shop. I think they're the same ones that we have, and that's what they were using for illumination. So let's go ahead and jump into the guide. Show off. That is. All right. So jumping into the guide, just a pretty easy project. I think the only time intensive thing is the printing for all this. So it just lists all the stuff I already said. QTPy ESP32 S2 with the diffused high density NeoPixel LED strip. And then the API that Liz has, grabbing all of the info to show up on the strip, the current moon phase. Here is what the original project was. This was like half the size. All I did was scale it up and then adjust the case to fit. And as you can see, yeah, it was a little bit of a some wiring that went on. And the LED nudes that they're using, that's what those are. So I wanted to simplify that, so it would just be a press fit channel for the NeoPixel strips that we have. And it's been remixed a couple of different times. This is what the original one looked like.
Yeah, if you just search for moon lamp, you're going to find a whole mess of them.
Yeah.
All different sizes and LED types.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
This is the one.
Oh, they're printed in different.
Yeah, there's a couple different remixes, but yeah, this was a little smaller one. It's about half the size.
Is it printed with gray filament or something?
I think so.
It is, yeah. That's interesting, huh? I didn't think to print it in gray. It makes it look less like blown out, I guess, which is kind of cool.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious where the original, like, where do you get? Does NASA have an STL of the moon? And
maybe
they get the printed or turn the mesh into something that's printable with not so many.
I mean,
it's
exactly. Yeah, I think it's depending on what the grayscale value is how high the peaks and valleys that it generates for it. So they might have that.
Yeah, otherwise it's just a cool lamp.
Yeah.
Without the code.
Yep. So we got the partlets here, the LED strip, QTPy, and these 3-pin JST SM plugs. We got the socket and the plug.
Mm-hmm.
The socket is on the strip portion, and then we just attach the plug onto the QTPy, soldered in there, and then a link to the PLA filament and the USB 2 millimeter long cable if you so need.
Mm-hmm.
Circuit diagram, super easy. We're just plugging into the 5-volt, the ground, and the A3, just so I could be away from the 3D printed mount that the QTPy attaches to. Then you just want to angle those so it's going down away from the USB-C port.
Yep.
Just angle them so they're like, so the wires are pointing towards the stemma plug. So don't point them outwards. And then the way that we have this laid out, when we attach the strip to the channel, I'm going to position this starting at the 6 o'clock position and then going clockwise.
Yeah, it's important to have it oriented right. So nice little diagram.
Yep. I did print like a really big version of this for the office. PT requested that one, and yeah, we couldn't have the moon code on there because it is dependent on the strip and how many pixels are in there to get the positioning right for the API. Let's see, Liz did a good job on setting up the installing CircuitPython and then setting up your TOML file. This is what's used to get onto your network. It has your SSID, your password, and really simple. You can just open this up in your text editor and apply your necessary credentials for having that log on to your Wi-Fi network.
Yep.
Cool on that. And then the code can be downloaded as a project bundle. So you just got to drag and drop all of the necessary libraries. And then you got to drag on your TOML file as well.
Yep. Yeah, if you want to modify the project, you'll want to go into the pins. You can adjust the brightness. Right now, it's actually set to the lowest at 0.1, so you can make it pretty bright if you need to. Yeah, and then of course you can, change out the hard-coded moon phases if you want to do a different length of strip. So yeah. Nikita's saying that's a lot of libraries. Yeah, a lot of them are built in, like board and time, OS, Wi-Fi. I think the ones that are additional are NeoPixel and Adafruit requests.
Yeah.
But that's why the project bundle is so nice, because it'll just grab them all for you, which is great. Yeah.
I think the interesting thing about the way that the NeoPixel strip works is that it's actually doubled. So the 49 NeoPixels, I think, is when you actually physically count each one, it's actually like 98 pixels, but they're actually just doubled up next to each other.
Yeah, it's really strange. I've never played with a pixel that does that, but like when you light up 1 pixel, 2 pixels light up. So that's how it's doubled. Yeah, I thought it was doubled in the sense that they were like on top of each other, but yeah, they're actually next to each other, which is a little weird. But that's just the way it is.
Yep, it is described in the product description for the NeoPixel strip.
Another interesting thing is the FarmSense API doesn't ask for a key because it's free. So you don't need a key from that, and you also don't need an Adafruit IO key. It's just getting a time, like a timestamp from it, which is nice. Yeah, it says Adafruit IO time server for Unix time, no API key needed, which is kind of nice. It really just works. A lot of times with weather and stuff, you got to like apply a key and apply for an account and all this, but no, it's really easy to get it going. So huge shout out to the folks that made the FarmSense API. I was looking at their website. They also have, interesting enough, they have day lengths and frost dates. So when it's like, as a farmer, I guess you really need to know the likelihood of a frost for your crops. But yeah, I guess phases of the moons are important too, which is cool. All right.
See, 3D printing page has the links to all of the files if you want to edit your own design for this, like the case, if you want to do some modifications to the way that it mounts or anything like that, or increase the size, that'll definitely work. Here is the case for that. And then you can, one thing that I should have done it was too late after, well, like while I'm filming, is actually scooted the QTPy holder a little bit more down so that you can attach like a right angle connector or like the 90-degree connector, so it could not have like the wire poking out if you just want to have it sitting down flush on your desk.
Yeah.
So you would have enough room to actually scooch the screw holes and the QTPy holder down, so it's flush down here to the USB-C cutout. But that's all there if you want to adjust that.
Yeah, it's easy enough. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. Scooch it down.
Oh, I didn't know you can move stuff.
Yeah. Oh, whoa. Where am I? No. There you go.
The trackpad and
yeah, to have it more flush with the cutout.
Or you can have the QTPy outside, I guess, if you want.
Oh yeah.
Do that. Just have the NeoPixel wire come out of that hole. So it's nice.
You also have the STL file, so those are ready to print, as well as the slice settings. For the support materials, there is that where the channel is, that little overhang that we have there. We're just using Z supports, used the slim tree type, and then the Z top distance, I set it to 0.28 because I am using the draft mode, so I'm printing at 0.28 layer height. Since you don't need it to be that detailed or high quality, since it is just a cylinder.
Yeah, that definitely sped up the print time, and the quality is just as good because it's just
yeah.
very, very simple. I use your exact same settings that you have listed there, and the tree supports came off really easy.
Yeah,
I use the little flush snips to pop them out, but otherwise, yeah, they came out really nice.
Such a pleasure. I was using the zigzag supports when I first started out because I was like, I don't know if the trees are gonna work good for this overhang, the type that it is. But after a couple of attempts, when I'm trying out the different sizes for the case, the trees were the best. Seems to be always tree supports are always better.
Yep, I agree. Yep.
Jumping into assembly. Super easy to solder the. Where am I? Super easy to solder the QTPy to the plug. JSTSM. Same before. Just position your wire so they're going out towards the stemma connector. Mainly so it avoids the corner little snaps when you are attaching it to the holder. We're going to pre-drill some M2.5 by 6 millimeter long screws, and then we can mount the QTPy right on there. You start off with the stemma port side first at an angle, and then apply gentle pressure to the USB port to snap it in.
Yep.
We'll align the pre-drilled screws up to the screw holes on the case, and then drill those in. I have the approximate measurement of the LED strip when you start from where the after the socket connector, so not including the wire that the strip is attached to. It'll be 55.3 centimeters, or you can physically count the 98 pixels, or what was it, 42 pixels. But physically, you will count 98 if you want to go that route. I'm just using like a fabric measuring tape to lay that out and cut it. And here I show you want to cut it like right between the center of the pads. So it does show you which way the data flows. After that, we'll plug the strip into the QTPy, the JST-SM socket. And then the way that the Moon press fits in, you want to press fit the strip in just the start of the strip, right where the diagram shows. So press fit the start of that in first, just a little bit of it, and then you can fit the Moon inside. And there will be that little right underneath the channel, there'll be like a smaller spot for it to press fit into. Once you get the Moon in there, the whole Moon part, then you can continue with press fitting the rest of the strip into the channel. and it should press fit, like the whole end should align up to the starting point of that. And that's pretty much it. You place the cover right on top, load up your code, or plug it into the wall, and it should grab the latest Moon Phase.
Yeah. Got some notes here. Yeah, so the strip does have an adhesive backing, but we actually don't need it, which is nice because the silicone has a nice forgiving flexibility to it. So as you push it into the channel, it just stays in place and it hasn't popped out at all. So you did good on making the depth of it correct, and the length of it works out really nice. And then the wire just kind of gets folded in so that it goes around the USB port. You can kind of see mine. You probably were able to hide yours better. Did you find that difficult? Getting the wire away. Yeah, I just kind of tuck it away too. And then the excess just nicely comes out here, so you can always disconnect it or reconnect it or whatever if you need to. And good job on the sizing for this. I was able to fit it on the pegboard hook, and it fits pretty well. And you have plenty of room between the backing of this and the backing of the moon, which is nice.
So
you have plenty of room for like the hook to hang on to. Otherwise, yeah. This is what it looks like without my my little cover thing, but it's symmetrical, so it doesn't matter where it fits. It's just really good. Like that. Yeah. Well, nice.
So we have this in the hallway, and it lights it up very nicely at the 0.1 brightness. So it's pretty bright.
Yeah, it's pretty bright. Yeah, good stuff. All right. Let's see. Do we have any questions on Discord? Nothing yet. We got a question from Nikita. Yep. What's the difference between what's the difference in MicroPython and CircuitPython? I don't know the exact difference, but mainly CircuitPython is designed for like beginners, and it's a little bit easier, I think, for folks.
Well, CircuitPython specifically has all of the libraries that you're going to need with a bunch of the boards that are defined to work with it. So you'll have a lot easier time to get the definitions for those boards to work. And then the libraries and then the way that the projects are coded are specific to the sensors and all that it's supported.
Yep. And another question from Nikita.
For the moon to tick. Oh, like an actual clock? I did not think of that. Yeah. So it would like light up like a little section on each hour, like ticking. That'd be cool.
That would be a neat one. Yeah. And I'm not sure I understand this question. How do we get the precision of a structure in millimeters?
With
like with calipers?
Calipers, yeah. So we measure it.
I guess calipers, yeah. Digital calipers. And can we print the moon frame white to get the illusion? It's just the moon. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm sure all of it would light up. Yeah, I kind of like the black frame though. It kind of isolates the moon. Cool. Good questions. All right, I'm gonna hang this up after the show on my board here and just have it on all the time. Now I can always see a nice visual. Good for like kiddos' room. If you want like a night light, you can always brighten up and keep it nice and lit.
Yeah, I should have got a shot of it lit up against the moon, but the difference in the size, you wouldn't see it. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this week's. What are we prototyping?
Prototype. Okay. Let's take a look at my camera. Make it bigger. All right. So last week we talked about our Bluetooth classic speaker project that's in the shape of the Severance intercom speaker. So pretty much it's ready to, I've already documented it and the code's running. And yeah, it's a pretty simple build. So you got your main enclosure bit here that has this built-in backing here with the access to the USB port for the Feather. So it's using Feather ESP32 S2, running Arduino code. And there's a library for the ESP IDF platform that can run on the Feather that has some demo for doing Bluetooth classic audio, because the ESP32 chip can do Bluetooth, which is nice. The other piece here is just this little snap fit front grill, which has a bunch of speaker holes in it, and I got some rubber feet in the back, just 4 screws to house the to secure the frame, the PCB frame. So to open it, I got like a little spudger here, and then I can get this piece out. I wanted to find out. I wanted to create a black backing for the speaker grill, because without a black backing, you can see right through it and you can see the components, and that kind of kills the illusion. So what I ended up doing was getting a piece of felt fabric, and I just cut it with scissors, and I'm using these fabric tape strips, which works for fabric, and it's just easy to stick it on here, so I don't need any hot glue or anything. So I just cut some strips, put it on the edge, because there's plenty of edge to grab onto in the back here. And then, yeah, felt worked out really well. So it covers up the holes and still allows all the audio to come through. You have these little nubbins here that will mate with the little slots here, the little notches. On the inside, there's a lip. So the idea is that this press fits in, and then it can't be pushed in because the lip keeps it from falling all the way in. Here you can see we're using our little 3-watt enclosed speaker. And then we have 2 PCBs. So, of course, the Feather. And then this is an I2S amplifier. So it has digital audio. It has like a 12 decibel gain. So it's actually fairly loud. And the speaker works pretty well. And, of course, the enclosure actually amplifies also the sound, which is nice. And that's pretty much it. Just a couple wires to connect the Feather to the I2S amplifier. And you got screw block terminals. You can't really see it there, but there's screw block terminals on the amplifier. So you just plug in and fasten the screw block terminal for the speaker. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll do some demos next week when we launch the Learn Guide, but pretty simple, easy to put together. Of course, you got some grills here. One thing I found that was kind of interesting is when I originally designed the case, it was two sketches that were lofting between each other, but they were kind of straight. And as I kept looking at reference images, there's a bit of a curve here. So I realized that you can change the connection between the lofts. You can make it direct connect, and that'll allow you to give some curvature between that. So I was able to curve it there. And then these little lines are kind of visual accents that I use the emboss tool in Fusion 360 to kind of add it there. But one interesting thing is when you try to apply an emboss to a very curvy surface, it might error out. So what I ended up doing is just cutting it in half, applying the emboss, and then mirroring it, and then merging those two just halves together. So that was kind of interesting. Really nice bubbly shape. No support material required for it. Yeah, pretty simple and straightforward. This will be next week's project. We opted out of doing battery powered because you might as well just have it plugged in so that you can listen to it indefinitely. So that's a project. Next week we'll have a Learn Guide and a video. And this Friday is the season finale of Severance, the TV show on Apple TV. So that's exciting.
Nice. I kept saying that I would try to make some time to watch it, but my time is being eaten up by the kids.
That's funny.
And the dog.
Yeah, maybe you'll have time once all the episodes are out. You can start from season 1 and end up all the way to season 2.
I think my social media feeds know that I'm never gonna watch it because it doesn't show me. The thing that it keeps showing me is freaking Invincible. So I know.
Yeah, I'm
all the stuff that you're watching that too.
Yeah, yeah.
It shows me all of that, but nothing for Severance. It's like, what the heck?
It knows you like anime. All right, we got a couple questions from Makita. Does CircuitPython work on the ESP32? Yes, it does.
Yes.
There's
even have
a dedicated
cool way
page.
to visualize the disk support that the ESP32 has.
Yeah, we use the CircuitPython code editor and the ESP tool to flash CircuitPython onto it because it doesn't have a native USB support. But yeah, it definitely does. And then what's the grid of drills for? Like the holes? The holes are just what's in the show. They're just holes. Yeah, that's what you mean. Yeah. This big hole is supposed to be like a camera. You're not supposed to know it's a camera, but there's a camera in there. And obviously we didn't want to add a camera, just a speaker. Cool. All right, let's see anything on Discord.
Yes, Invincible is a great season. Yes.
Yeah, I just started watching. Like I'm on episode 1.
It's funny. I know that because of all of the stuff that's posted on the socials. I haven't watched any of the seasons, but I know what's going on.
Oh, that's funny.
Isn't that funny?
It is. Yeah. No, I'm watching. It's a good thing to watch. Yeah.
No, I mean, I can't watch that with the kids. Like,
yeah, it's a little too gruesome.
Yeah, let me show guts exploding.
Right, and heads crushing. Yeah. All right, before we move on to the next segment, just to remind everybody that Moon Phase is today's coupon code. You can support the show and Adafruit by putting an order in for some fun electronics, but don't pay full price. Use our 10% off code, Moon Phase.
All right.
Cool.
Let's go ahead and jump into this week's rapid render.
Yeah, I'll bring up the thing. Here we go. All right, welcome to Rapid Render. This week, we got a new AI tool that we're taking a look at. Pedro, what do we have?
All right, this week's AI tool, I think it's mostly for gaming, but it lets you generate the model as well as having different variables for like the attributes of the model. So you have these sliders to adjust. Say like if you make a backpack is what they're showing here. If you make a backpack, it'll let you like edit like the straps or like the zipper or like the height of it or how many pockets it has. So it's a really cool way to adjust a model that's generated with AI. So the example that they're showing here, I just loaded this up, the backpack. So you can see all these different sliders on the side here. It has things for like if you wanted to have pockets on the side or the width of it, the height, if you wanted to have that little top portion of the backpack, or if you want to have the pockets on the side. So you see me here. This is just a recording because I ran out of credits already, so I can't actually go in there and adjust any of these. So if you want to have like a strap or not, or if you want to have like the side pocket, if you want to have like zippers on there, the size of the pocket. And this is really reminiscent of when we made like websites where it could adjust like, the header, like what you wanted the header, the footer to be, or the color, or the image, or the text font, or, the different elements that you were able to control through CSS. So this feels like this is what it's doing. And this was actually, I think, like the second or third website that we were going to feature for Rapid Render. And now that I came back to it, they've definitely done a ton of updates to it, specifically in generating what I originally was giving the text prompt for, which was a robot. It came up with that little dummy looking guy first, and it's like, that's not a robot. So now they actually have a proper robot. So the robot that it generated, you have the sliders to adjust variables like, the body of it. Do you want it to have like a circle body, or the torso, or the guns that are featured here? Do you want to have missiles, or do you want to have like a shotgun? The arms, do you want it to have like fingers, or do you want to have like a cannon? And you can adjust it for the left or the right arm. For like the feet, do you want like it to have like toes, or do you want it to be like a unified foot? So for video games, for as we're gonna see here in a minute, for 3D printing, this is pretty dang cool. You can adjust the height of this. You can do a bunch of different variables that are adjustable, and we haven't seen this with any of the AI websites that we've tried so far. So here I'm just adjusting the head. You have a couple different options, and then you can supposedly go in there and even refine that more with more text prompts. Over here I'm just adjusting like the weaponry that you have on his right shoulder. So this is super cool to be able to adjust the variables after it's generated a model. Here I am, like going over the feet. Like, do you want it to have like shoes or actual like little tiny feet, or can't read what that says, but the options that were for it. But that's pretty cool that you're able to go in there after the fact and have sliders to adjust, and not just like the body proportions, but also like the material. And this is where like the gaming aspect of this comes into play. So you can adjust, like, is this made out of brick, the metal, like the type of metal, have it like all rusted, or the baked textures that it would generate for the game. And have a couple of different, you can even like isolate which portions of the model the texture is being applied to. And then you have like different categories on the side there. That's what those little icons are. Then you can export this to STLs or OBJs or the JLBs for importing into video games. As you can see there, I did not have enough credits to actually export this model, but the one that I had already had one of the kids generate, this is what it came up with. So for 3D printing specifically, you can see the way that the model is generated. It's all individual, like cylinders and boxes, so everything is all a separate piece. And when I was trying to print this, there was a couple of problems with normals, which is the way that the face is positioned to the camera. So if the normal is facing inwards, it's going to have a hole generated, so that wouldn't be manifold when you're trying to 3D print that. So it would render as a hole inside the image. So the way to fix that is to go inside of something like Blender and adjust the normal for that. So let me jump out of this and load in the other media for that to show how this was fixed. What is that? Here it is. So nope, that's the seam fixing. So to show, yeah, inside of
Tinkercad.
Up, and this is showing how the model is actually put together. If we go into one of the slicers like Cura that has the ability to split the model into different parts, you can see that this is all like, spheres and cylinders, so you can grab and take apart stuff. And this is probably how the website is able to adjust all the variables by having everything broken up into pieces, so you can adjust those through the slider. You can see here the body is just made up of a couple of different boxes. But that is how that is working behind the scenes. And like you were saying before, the model is the way that it's generated, there could be some problems with the normal. So I brought it inside of Blender and adjusted that, and just flipped the position of the normals. And you can go to how to fix that. I just looked up on YouTube how to flip the normal on that. And a lot of my time has been spent, learning Blender, getting away from like I turned off the Maya key commands, which is the way that I was able to navigate around there to really follow how to really use it. Because I wasn't comfortable in Blender, I brought in a Tinkercad and was building the model so that it could have movable parts. So that's all this is showing, how you could still use like, relatively simple programs to make this into a like a flexible model.
Cool.
And then bring it into Blender and Bamboo Studio, 2DBs, and that printed out pretty good. That's what we have here. I'll jump over to my desktop presentation. Where's that? There we go. So here's the little guy that it generated. This one was one that Declan was messing with the parameters to build his little robot, which is super cool. You can have a kid go in there, have a text prompt show up for them, and then they can go in there with the sliders and then adjust the variables for their little arms and wheels and all that. So inside of Blender, you have it regenerated so that it could have the little movable wheels and the arms. So that was super cool. I wanted to do a multicolor print, but I was short on time, so I just wanted to make sure that it could print. And then some adjustments that I did with one that's printing right now is just make it so that his underside is a little bit shorter so that it doesn't run into the wheel here. So a couple of fine adjustments that you can, for teaching the kids on how to get a nice, cool model that can print. Or for Gavin, who wants to be like work on game design, have him focus on the story and getting the game mechanics down to sort of speed up and focus on the creativity of it, the story of the game, and how to generate the model. One of the future ones that PT sent in is that they have one inside of Roadblocks, so you can generate models that way, and then have those ready for inside of the game, and then hopefully we can export those out. So this is super cool. I know that one of the comments that we got on the Rapid Render was people saying, "Oh no, I don't like this AI stuff. It's was it the what was it, Tarkins Your Soul or something like that?" But the thing that we like to focus on, as we've seen with every single Rapid Render segment, is that I always have to take it inside of Blender or Tinkercad and actually do adjustments to have it actually be printable, to have the settings proper so that it will print out, fix the normals for the geometry and getting things in the mesh to work properly. So AI only gets you like 30% there. The rest of the time was me going inside the modeling programs and getting it to actually manifold and getting closing faces. So, and even like the wheel, it kept having like a hole in it, so I had to remodel the wheel. So maybe 20% what AI did in getting us here. So it's definitely a tool. And then one of the other ones that we saw that they have like Claude is a lot is used a lot in the helping Lamar get coding for like the libraries and like figuring out like the registries for a lot of the projects that we're working on. Claude now can control Blender, so it's definitely a nice big help in setting up scenes or having repetitive actions. Like a lot of the things is like selecting all the faces for things. So if you can get a program to actually help you in doing repetitive tasks, so you can focus on just building a wheel, that definitely helps in getting us to the end goal. So AI is not your enemy.
Yeah, that's how you use it. So this is called Sloyd.ai. I just posted a link on all the places, so check it out. Pretty impressive. I like when you can use the tool and actually get a 3D print out of it, so that's really cool.
Takes some work, but yeah, you can get a print out of it.
Yeah, it's free for a little bit.
You do have it has, yeah, you have credits, so you can generate. I think it was about like 3 maybe while I was testing it out. You could subscribe to get more. It uses your GitHub to log in, so I was able to quickly log in since I'm repeatedly back to back using these AI login credentials.
Cool. All right. Any other stuff before we close out the segment?
I think that's it.
All right. Check it out. And that's this week's Rapid Render. Okay. Before we move on, we have a couple of questions. Let's see here. How'd you make the arms move? From Nikita?
It's so true. Oh, so it's what we were showing real quick inside of bringing it into Where am I? Was it near the end here?
They're already in pieces, so it's just up to you on like how you want to.
Yeah, I brought it into Tinkercad originally. And you can see here that I made the cylinder holes and then inserted another set of cylinders and then added like end stops for each end of those
so they don't come out,
so that they can flex around that center.
Yeah, and it's slightly smaller, so you have some gap there.
Exactly, yeah. So 0.2 smaller than the actual holes of it is. And then you're able to have a separated model. In the end, though, I did have to go do everything inside of Blender since I needed more control. I think I show here, yeah, with, you know, not just fixing the normals for the faces, but actually deleting faces, deleting duplicates, welding vertices together to, you know, sort of clean up holes. Like you see these additional little geometries that are by the arm. I had to go in there and delete those because that would get in the way of having that cylinder where it would rotate.
Yeah.
So in there, deleted those. I can't do that inside of Tinkercad.
Right. Okay.
I mean, you could, but then it's, you know, it's the size of those. The hole that we need to generate to get rid of that would be bigger than the arm shoulder. Then you run into like having thin parts.
Yeah.
But like I showed in bringing it into Cura, you could separate that model and then delete those portions and then export that back out. So a lot of juggling between programs.
Seems to be the key here is like
lots of juggling.
Understanding how to clean up a model and then what tools are the right, you know.
And in my case,
the right tool for the job kind of thing. It's like knowing how to break it apart.
The workflow and the terminology coming from working on or using Maya for lots of years. I knew what to look for. I knew what it's called in Blender compared to what it's called in Maya. So I was able to quickly search up how to do the task that I was looking for, specifically with, I just lost my train of thought because I have the notification for that other print is complete. It's sort of a segue into sort of like a shop talk on how to get seams to print where you want them. Seams are where the print is going to go up to the next layer. There's seems to always have to be a seam.
A Z seam.
Z seam. So in this model, it's kind of hard to see because it's all red. It looks all blown out. But it's where the models sort of like join together when you're printing to the next layer. And you are able to tell the printer where to actually generate that seam with the seam printer option inside of Bamboo Studio. One of the things I didn't know how to do was get an orthographic view inside of Bamboo. And it's hidden under the view menu. I should have recorded that, but it cut it off. You can kind of see here what it is. See here, show orthographic. Yeah. So go to the orthographic view, and then you can see here it's the command keys 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just go to the rear instead of having to rotate your model around to where it will generate your Z seam by default, or on the side panel here, you could tell it where to, but it isn't always going to align it the way you want it to. So you would paint the Z seam away from any of the detail that is on your model. So I just went to tell me to view the rear, and then inside here, you can see you could paint exactly where that is. So you can limit it to just your horizontal or your vertical, and then it gives you a brush to paint all the way down. So where that blue is, that is exactly where the model will generate that Z seam when it's going up a layer. And that's super quick. And you can see here when you generate your preview, those little white lines is where it's going to move on to the next layer. You can see that all of these are away from the front of the model, which is, if it had a more detailed face, it would generate those away from the details you want. Or if there's like a weak point in your model where it just keeps hitting because of that Z seam, you can paint it away from those critical geometries that need that strength.
Nice. That's a good tip. Cool. Okay. Let's see. On Discord, we have a couple comments. 90% of using Blender is learning Blender.
Yes.
Good one.
Oh, and a new version just came out, 4.4, so I gotta go update that. Yeah, I would download it because it's for fixing quick things or for any of the mesh stuff. Fusion is, a solid modeler, so it isn't really ideal for editing things like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know at what point, like how Lamar had to go from Eagle over to KiCad. One day, we don't know what could happen.
There's plenty of resources, right? On
yeah, there's so many.
Yeah.
Like when you look for a workflow tutorial, there's vast amounts of tutorials on how to do it.
Okay. I am looking for the lightsaber sounds. A fellow on Discord is asking if there's a attribution for the lightsaber sound effects, and I'm struggling to find it. I think it's like SF Forge. Maybe I'll look at this after the show because this is going to take a little bit of time here. I'm pretty sure I had it linked before, but I'm struggling to find it. If you search for lightsaber sounds, you'll find a post on a forum from like 8, 10, 20 years ago. That's like, here is a bunch of free lightsaber sounds, and I feel like everyone has derived from that sound pack. I think it's a sound font. I think it's like Jedi Knight sound pack or something like that. Sorry, I'll get back to you on after the show because I need to find it. I have like an original zip on my hard drive. And I think there's some attributes there. No worries. It's good to go back and like add attribution and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. No worries.
Squid Not JPEG asking about the seam selection. Wonders if it is in Prusa Slicer. I would not be surprised because I think Bamboo Studio derived Prusa Slicer
or Orca Slicer.
A lot of it. Yeah, a lot of the
which one is
the UI and the UX for it seems very familiar to Prusa Slicer.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Very nice. Good job, Talk. Let's jump on over to Community Makes. Are you ready for this? Or being Timelapse Tuesday and then Community Makes. How about that?
Yep, this week's Community Makes for Timelapse Tuesday is suggestion from PT, since we have a bunch of Macintosh related posts and projects and a whole board that runs old Mac OS. Everybody's fear from back in the day. I was always scared when I saw this pop up turning on a Mac. The question mark disk. Where did my system go? No, why did you throw it in the garbage?
Yes, I did. I threw away. I hid your trash can by accident when I first learned how to use a mouse. And then I guess you learned how to right click and say clean desktop or something. Was that even a feature back then?
I remember throwing away the whole system folder. Why did you let me do that, Mac OS?
Oh, that's funny.
Reinstall the whole.
So you're trying to make space. You're trying to make space, and you're like, "Oh, I don't need this."
So I was like, "What does this system thing do?" It was like 12 years old.
Yeah. And it let you
Sure.
delete the system? That's
It
hilarious.
does, yeah. You restart and then you get this lovely.
I didn't
I
know
don't know
that.
what
That's
to
hilarious.
do. So yeah,
Wow, very nostalgic. So
reinstall.
that's this icon.
Yes.
Whoops, sorry. Let me remove that and make you bigger.
So it is
Or
set up as a tag for like luggage, or as they show here, a necklace.
yeah,
So
pendant.
there's a hole right on the little metal
Yeah.
sleeve, and it is
So
double-sided.
double-sided, double colors.
Yes.
So did you make a few of these and
Yeah, I printed
done
3 of
some?
them, 2 to show both sides for the time lapse, and then the third one is where the color change was being flushed to, so to save on purging, even though it looks like it was a ton of purging.
Oh yeah.
So it took like 9 hours. It
To make
failed a couple
green.
times because the brim wasn't close enough to the bottom.
Yeah.
So this was kind of a nightmare to print.
Yeah. Interesting that it prints upright and not like flat.
I
Why is that?
believe that it's supposed to print flat, but for the time lapse again, I
Oh, I
needed to
see.
print it up. So there's
Oh.
always this, how is this gonna look on a video? So
Yeah.
I always have to do it the complicated way, just so it shows up
Yeah.
nice for a video. So 9 hours, 3 of them, bunch of purging. I switched from the usual Filicube filament that I use to the what's the one that
Polymaker.
Polymaker, which is a lot brighter white.
Mhm.
It looks way more vibrant. The
Yeah.
other one looked more off white. So curious on how light actually diffuses through this.
Yeah.
Had to make sure that the infill was also white and not black, because then it looked
Those
sort of
show through.
pixelated. Yeah, it definitely showed through.
Yeah.
What else with the fails?
Actually, I think you have a really good surface, because let's take a look at the designer is PierreNick on printables.com. It's a free STL, and you can see that the surface here, it is printed flat, but you can see where like the surface
Oh,
texture is
yeah.
actually, not the best. You can
And
tell it's
what's
printed because of the surface texture.
yeah, and what's
Maybe
funny,
you
if
can try ironing, but it's funny that when you print it on the Z, it actually hides some of the gaps that you get from from the surface of a print.
yeah, I mean, one of the things too is, again, I had one model specifically to wipe the nozzle, so a lot of the bleeding that may have happened got wiped off on that third model. Yeah, I didn't notice that. Yeah,
There's
you're right.
also a
And,
multi-part.
yep, I was about to mention this, that there is a way to print each individual piece and then snap them together. Again, I didn't want to do this because it's, again, for the time lapse, it's not going to look good. So
Yep,
just
I agree.
multi-print it, waste all this purged filament.
You get a really
Just for
pretty
a
print.
pretty looking time lapse video.
Funny description. Woke up this morning, you can't find your inner startup disk. It's more common than you think.
Oh yeah.
The blinking question mark shows that the Macintosh is ready for you to insert a disk. Cool.
I need 7.1.
That's funny. And looks like PierreNick has a bunch of other classic icons reimagined. You got the Clarice the dog cow as a smooth one, or the nail polish emoji, mustaches, all sorts of fun stuff. So check out Nick's profile on Printables, and I'll drop a link into the Discord for folks if you want to print your own save icon, basically, or floppy question mark icon.
Yeah, mine has the necklace.
I like the original icon here. Easy to draw these days. Very good. Very iconic.
Like Squid JPEG's suggestion to make it into an RFID tag, making scannable tags.
Yeah. Very good. And he's also a fan of Polymaker white.
Oh,
it's good for diffusion.
It's good.
Our fragment looks great with it. Very good. Yeah. Yep. I use it pretty much all the time now. Polymaker white here, Polymaker dark blue here. Yeah, I'm a fan of Polymaker, and I think
I had to switch because they no longer make the Filicube one.
Yeah. Their prices are good. It's on Amazon, and
Next day delivery.
apparently they have a factory now in these states, so
Mm.
I think they're able to keep the prices down because of that.
Yep.
Very cool.
All right.
Good stuff. See
Let's see.
if there's any other things.
Oh,
Yeah, check out the
communications.
time-lapse video on the YouTube channel if you want to see it printing.
Oh yeah,
Let's watch it one more time to see just how amazing it's.
yeah. You can see the third one in the back there.
Yeah,
It
you
looks
see it
gray.
It's
where
gray
white.
because it's like mixed black and white.
Every layer is the different color, and then the little purge tower in the back where it does the wipe. You can see that there is actually a little fail there.
A little under extrusion, I guess.
Yep. I sees it.
Interesting.
But I ran out of time. I was like, dang it.
Yeah.
No, this would be the 5th time it failed.
Yeah. And it's starting to shake a little bit on the.
From the weight. I mean, it's so light. So
Yeah.
anytime that the
That's funny.
yeah, I've noticed that with light
stands up right.
models. Oh, and also too, you can kind of see it shake there. The base of it isn't really stable either. Yeah.
Cool. All right, check it out, folks.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump to this week's Community Makes. First up, a lightsaber upgrade from Bobby One on printables. They created a different holder piece, I think, for the RP2040 Prop Maker Feather. Let's read it here. As the project is incredibly fun for kids, I wanted to start bringing small upgrades to it. The most popular speakers are commonly used in the lightsaber community are the 28 millimeter 3 watt 4 ohm speakers. And with this small adapter, this is an easy way to install it to the pommel. And then there's a link to the speaker. That's very cool. Next time I do a lightsaber, I'll be sure to check out the speaker.
We should stock these.
And maybe we can stock it, yeah. Very cool. Shout out to Bobby. After that, we have a very slim Neo Trellis case remix from Ardui.
Oh wow.
Ardui blog on printables. It's the Neo Trellis PCB with a much slimmer case here. And it says just add 4 M3 screws. Okay, very cool. It's a remix of the soundboard project, which is a lot slimmer. I think they got rid of the button. Yeah, looks like it. Very cool. And then a small update from Johnny here on printables. It's the front plate remix with the cat ears for the Memento enclosure. I guess they're a fan of the cat ears, so they just brought it into this bit here, which is nice. The cat ears double as lanyard hooks. So it's functional and stylish. Okay, that is all the community makes this week. Thank you, ready for sharing your remixes. It's nice to see remixes of things. Very cool. All right, folks, we are over time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Don't forget, Moon Phase will get you 10% off your order. Anything in the Adafruit shop? Anything physical? Yeah. Later tonight, we have back-to-back shows, starting off with Show and Tell. We invite you to come on Show and Tell. At 7:30 p.m. is when it starts. And you can join the Adafruit Discord server, and we'll get a link. You will get a link in the live broadcast chat channel to join. Limited number of seats. I believe there's like 10 or 12 seats, but plenty of room for folks to come in and share their projects. And then at 8 p.m., we have Ask an Engineer with Mr. and Mrs. Lady Ada. Talk about open source hardware, new products, INMPI, potentially other fun stuff, sneak peeks and all that. And you can ask your questions at the end of the show. Tomorrow is JP's workshop, so tune into JP and find out what he's working on. Friday is a deep dive with, I believe, Tim, Foamy Guy, or Scott. Every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. And then Sundays this week, they took time off, but maybe next week we'll see from the desk of Lady Ada live stream. Normally happens on Sundays. Mondays are CircuitPython weekly meetings. Those start at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and they're recorded in the Discord, the Adafruit Discord server. And then Tuesdays are JP's product pick of the week. All right. And then this show happens every Wednesday. All right, folks. One last chance here to say what's up. Discord. Shout out to everybody watching. Thank you for watching. We'll see you later tonight on Show and Tell. I think I'll come on next week with the speaker because the Learn Guide will be out. So that's us right there. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next week. But until then, remember to
make a great day.
Bye everybody.